Hey Retro fans, this isn't a proper episode of Retro Gaming Memories. This is a sort of an adjunct, a side shoot really, a bonus video if you will, whatever way you want to look at it. Basically I want to pose a question to you guys and girls. So it's Sunday afternoon here, and I've got some free time, and I thought, what do I fancy doing? I fancy playing a game. And then it kind of suddenly hit me that I didn't know what I fancied playing. Now, I have no shortage of games. I've got about 900 games in total, and I will do a room tour at some point. But I've got games for, like, you can see over my shoulder there, there's Xbox and Xbox 360, there's Wii U, GameCube, Wii, over there, is PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, Sega Mega Drive, Sega Mega CD, and in this corner that you've not yet seen yet, I've got all my Amstrad stuff, Amiga, CD32, PlayStation, Atari 2600. I have no shortage of games to play, and I've obviously got my arcade cabinet sitting there. The thing is it's a bit strange when you're a game collector, game enthusiast, and I've found this a couple of times. I tend to enjoy the collecting. I don't know if I'd say more than playing, but what I find is that I spend most of my time arsing about with my collection, cataloguing it and reorganising it and tidying it up and making it look nice. And I don't spend that much time playing because I think it's a case of I've got too much choice. And I think if you've got too much choice, I'm always reminded there was a Bruce Springsteen song in the 80s, I think it was, called 57 Channels and Nothing On. And it was a reference to cable TV in America, obviously, where there was at the time 57 channels and it was all dross. Now at the time in the UK, we had 3, probably 4 channels. Channel 5 wasn't out yet. So we only had 4 channels, and I always thought that must be amazing to have 57 channels of TV, you know, to be able to pick what you want to see. There must be something that you could watch. And I'm always reminded of that when I think about my games, because I go to sit down and start playing something, and I always go through this bizarre process of what kind of system do I fancy playing. And I have to work that out before I actually sit and play a game. And once I've picked a system, then I have to look at the games and think, what kind of game do I want to play? Do I want to play a shooter? Do I want to play a driving game? You know, whatever. And sometimes I just think, you know, I can't be bothered. And I end up just arsing about on my computer, making covers or something, or doing some other random stuff. And before I know it, I've wasted 3 hours of my time watching crap on YouTube and arsing about on Facebook and no getting anything done and no playing the games that I've got. So I really wanted to see if this is a common thing with sort of games collectors, that you end up with too much choice. Do you find yourself doing the same thing? Do you find yourself, you know, looking at your collection and thinking, I don't know where to start? Or do you, you know, do you play all your games? Do you just think, right, how do you do it? Do you pick one game at random and say, right, I'm going to play this? Or do you go through phases of playing stuff? Or what's your experience? How do you pick, you know, if you're lucky enough like I am to have, you know, lots of games, how do you pick what you want to play? And this is another reason I don't do emulators. The only thing I've got emulated is my arcade cabinet, because I can't have, you know, 250 arcade games in the house. And a lot of people that have MAME cabinets or MAME arcades, you know, they go for the full ROM set and have 30,000 games, and I'm like, why? I whittled mine down. There's, like I say, there's about 250, 260 games on there, and they're all the games that I remember playing, or are considered classics. You know, games that I've watched videos and thought, right, that looks good, and I'll give it a little try, and I pick that. And I've got the Neo Geo set on there, and I've got some other bits and bobs, and I'll cover my arcade cabinet in a full episode. But that's the only thing I've got emulated. Everything else I have is real games and real hardware. And I suppose that's the other thing as well, you know, I'm always chasing something new. Like at the moment and this is MameMeister's fault, thanks Alan, I'm obsessed with the Neo Geo CD, you know, and I had bought one and unfortunately it didn't work, so I had to send it back. So I'm currently chasing another one, and you know, I've got no I was going to say no love, no nostalgia for the Neo Geo CD. I never had one back in the day because they were the, cost of a mortgage. And the only Neo Geo games I ever played were in the arcade in Lothian Road in Edinburgh. So I don't have any nostalgia for it, so I don't know why I want it. I do know why I want it, because some of the games are brilliant. I love the King of Fighters games, and Metal Slug and all that kind of stuff is amazing. And like that, I don't want to emulate it. I had the Neo Geo X, which I've sold, and it was a brilliant machine and I loved it, but there were games that I wanted to play that weren't available for the Neo Geo X, and there was no way to expand it. I was excited when it was launched because there was supposed to be, extra game packs launched for it, and Tomo, the guys in the US that made the Neo Geo X, fell out with SNK somehow. I can't remember the details of it, and it just fell apart. So there were no more games released for it, which was a real shame because, although it was an emulator and a lot of people slated it, I loved that machine. It was brilliant. It gave you the experience, and that's what it's all about. You can play MAME on a computer with a keyboard, but playing it on that is the proper experience, standing up with a joystick and buttons, and that's what I wanted from the Neo Geo X. Yes, I can play it on my Mac, or I can play it on that, or you can play it on almost anything. You can play it on smartphones now. But the Neo Geo X looked like a Neo Geo, and it had the proper Neo Geo joysticks, and it was the experience, that I loved. And the only reason I don't still have it is because I've went down this track of seeking a Neo Geo CD. So that I can get the extra games that that weren't available for the Neo Geo X. If you don't have a Neo Geo X and you want that kind of thing, I would totally recommend it. I've got no qualms whatsoever about recommending it. It was a great little machine. Anyway, total random side thing there, but that was the point of that. Emulators, I've seen guys that have got every system emulated on everything, and you go in and you say, what do you want to play, and you scroll through lists and lists and lists of games, and they've got every game ever released, and you can't think anything you want to play. It's bad enough here when I can browse, and that's one of the reasons I like having actual physical games, is that you can look and sometimes you think, oh, I fancy playing that, and actually browsing the covers and picking up the game like you did back in the shops back in the day, picking up an Amstrad tape and looking at it and thinking, oh, I fancy playing that, and then opening up the cover and looking at the graphics and things. Yeah, I think I really fancy playing this, or no, actually I remember that wasn't very good, and put it away. But that experience of browsing the games is part of the fun. And yes, you can now get all the fancy front ends that have got box art and 3D boxes and all that kind of stuff, and it looks great, but it's not the same. For me anyway. For me, the whole thing is the physical act of having a game, be it CD, cartridge, disc, tape, whatever, and getting the thing and putting it into the machine and physically loading it. That's all part of the experience for me, and it's the experience that I love. That's why I don't use emulators. I have used emulators, and I'm not dissing emulators. They are brilliant, and I'm just fortunate enough now that I've got the space to be able to have all this stuff. Before I did use emulators all the time, and I had a multitude of things, and they were great and served their purpose. But for me now, it's all about the nostalgia of the physicality of putting the game into whatever machine it is, and having the proper controllers and all that kind of stuff. So, but anyway, I've went off on a totally random tangent again, but let me know how you pick your games that you want to play. What's your method for playing a game, if you have such a thing? Or am I just completely overcomplicating it? Should I just not worry about it and go and play a game? Back in the day, when we had a system, and I think that's part of the trouble as well, is you had one system. It wasn't until I was much older that I started. It was the PlayStation 2 era that I got multiple consoles. I got an Xbox as well as a PlayStation 2, and that started the ball rolling almost. But back in the day, you had a Mega Drive, or an Amiga, or an Amstrad, or a Spectrum, or whatever you had, whatever machine you had. And I don't remember ever having any issues picking a game back in the day, when I had my whatever machine it was. And I didn't have hundreds of games, I usually had a decent collection of games for whatever system it was, 30, 40 games, maybe something like that. But I had no problem in going up and thinking, right, I'm going to play this, and playing it over and over and over again, And I don't know if I don't know if my attention span has changed, if I'm just, you know, maybe I've got some bizarre thing that I just can't be arsed anymore. I don't know where my attention span has changed. I need short, sharp. That's why I like the arcade games so much, because they're short, sharp, you know, 10-minute shots. Here we go, you know, great. And it's one of the reasons that I don't invest more time in sort of PlayStation 4 or anything like that, because these games take hours to play. You know, the last game I finished, I think, was Uncharted 2 on the PlayStation 3, and it took me a year and a half to complete it. Before that, I think Battlefield 3 in fact it was the last game I completed before that on the Xbox 360, and that took me 3.5 years. So, you know, I go through kind of phases of playing systems and playing games, and sometimes when I get something that I really love, I'll get stuck into it. And the last game that actually happened with was a PlayStation 2 game. I think it's called Cold Winter. Cold Winter? Yeah. Sort of first person shooter, and it was really good. And you know, I would come home from work, and after my dinner, like I was a kid again, sit and play this game for, you know, a few hours and get right into it. And it was great. But it's very rare for games like that to kind of catch me anymore. So yeah, but I suppose part of the problem is actually me, and my attention span. You know, something's got to really kind of grab me, or I've got to be really in the mood to play something. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to kind of put this little video out. I've been thinking about it, and I thought, you know what, I'll put a little video out about it, see if anybody else has the same sort of problem or thought process, or if anybody has an answer. You know, so yeah, let me know what you think. Do a little video response if you fancy, or, you know, email me, send me a comment, whatever. But let me know, you know, if you've got a few games, how do you pick what you want to play, or how do you decide? What's your method for picking a game, basically? So anyway, like, this is it. It's just a short kind of video, and there might be more things like this coming along, you know, where I just have a random thought and make a video. So yeah, these are just little bonus videos. Episode 8 is in production of Retro Gaming Memories. That will be out next Friday. Episode 7, which is all about the PlayStation, has just been released. People seem to be quite enjoying that. So, you know, thanks to everybody, all my subscribers, all 86 of you. We're growing slightly, but thanks to, you know, the guys, the regular commenters, Craig Wilson, Batman, Mainmeister. You know, you are all great guys, and I really appreciate the sort of continued support. So yeah, please keep watching, and I hope you still enjoy the content I'm putting out. You know, if you don't, if there's anything you don't like, please let me know. You know, I'm always open to ideas and constructive criticism. If you think I'm shit, just tell me. You know, if you think I'm great, superb, just keep watching. But anyway, I'm waffling again, so have a great day, whatever you're doing, and I'll see you soon.